What Amazon has done is they've made it that we feel like we should get everything in 2 days. So when a consumer is coming to your business and your site and they're signing up for the first time, like, you need to get it to them fast. Hey everybody, Chris George here, back on Facebook Live on Fridays. I've got my good friend Megan Smith, CEO of SUBTA Logistics, on with me today. Hey Megan, how are you?
Hi everyone. Hi Chris. I'm good. How are you?
Very good. Thanks so much for jumping on. And for those of you that might not know Megan, she is the CEO of SUBTA Logistics. They are a fulfillment center, and she is jumping on with me today to give us some good thoughts around fulfillment, outsourcing fulfillment, when you should think about outsourcing fulfillment. These are really important parts of your things for you to think about for your business, which can allow you to focus on what you do best. So Megan, real quick, give everybody a quick intro about yourself and SUBTA.
Sure. Hey everyone. Thanks for having me. Thanks for joining us. I'm excited to be here and talk to Chris. We're sad that SubSummit didn't get to happen in person, but it's always great to see you and everyone in this network. We love the subscription industry. So as Chris said, I'm the CEO of SUBTA Logistics. We're a third generation fulfillment company, originally started in contract warehousing. And, in the last 10, 12 years, started working in the subscription space as it grew. So that's me. Sean wanted me to call out that some people call me Scandalicious, and Megan Smith, Scandalicious, glad to be here.
That's great. Well, for those of you watching too, if you have questions at any point, feel free to pop them in the comments. I'll put them on the board. Myself or Megan will be able to answer them for you. So tell me quickly what, I know that you told me you've been getting a lot of subscriptions lately, especially with the pandemic and with the way to get groceries and food, but tell me how long you've been supporting subscription brands now with SUBTA.
Sure. So with SUBTA, we've been supporting subscription brands for about 5 years. Prior to that, the company was called Amware Fulfillment, and we sold in 2014. So we had started doing subscription fulfillment about 2008. And really, what the subscription industry was kind of born in was the MLM land. And we've been doing multi-level marketing and that sort of, high volume subscription type industry stuff for over 15 years as a family.
That's great. So I know with when you're thinking about outsourcing subscription or keeping it in-house, I think that there's like two parts to it, right? There's like the brands that are at like 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 subscribers that may have started in-house and they need to pivot. And there's also the startups that are like, they've been doing it in their basement. Now they're hitting like 500 or 1,000 and they need to think about outsourcing it. And I can always make a really compelling argument on like in-house versus outsource. And I know the pros and cons of both, but I want to know from your take, why should a brand think about outsourcing their fulfillment? And what should they look for when they're thinking about outsourcing it, when they're looking for the right company to outsource with?
Yeah, so I think starting with, what should you look for? Like, I just think that with the subscription industry in general, it's such an intimate conversation. Most of these people started this with their own two hands. They're super passionate about what they do, and they've been doing it themselves, like you said, whether they're at that 30,000 subscriptions per month, whether that's order volume or not. You started somewhere, and that probably started with your own idea. That's kind of the beauty about the subscription industry in general, is it's so passionate, and the people who start these companies are so passionate. So when you're looking at who's a right partner, what are the things I should be looking for? From my perspective, it's finding a partner who's as passionate about the subscription industry, who understands that this has been your baby and that this was probably your first child. A lot of people in this industry hadn't even had kids before they started this company. So it's like, this is my baby, this is my first child. And what is that interaction going to be like with this company? What am I looking for? What are the core values of this provider that I want? And really kind of creating a scorecard before you even say, okay, I know I'm at this place and now I'm going there. To get there, part of that scorecard should be, what does my company look like now? Where do I need to be? Or am I already there? Is that order volume? Is that, look, we're busting out the doors with orders, and we can't do this ourselves anymore, is that the parcel rates, is that packaging. There's a lot of, other components that kind of go into that tactical calculation. So it's sort of the emotional side of it, the partnership side, and then it's the tactical side. At what point mathematically does this make sense to find a partner?
Yeah.
And how can that partner support me? Is it that they've got great small parcel rates from a plethora of providers, or is it they already provide white touch solutions to a company like mine, and they've got these case studies they can show me.
Right.
So I think that just looking at it really high level and kind of, bare bones, if I'm a subscription company and I built this company myself, whether I'm at that level of 30,000 subscribers or, 50, considering at what point you need to do that is really detrimental on considering your growth trajectory and what that looks like and when you're going to get there. If you're already there, or if you're not. And there are some companies who their core competency is also fulfillment. And that's good. That's okay. At that point, you should say to yourself, this is a core competency of ours, and we don't need to outsource it. And our customers are willing to pay a little bit more on the parcel side. They're willing to pay that little bit of a premium. And so we say OtterBox is a good example of that. Like, they've never come to a situation where they're like, I should outsource now.
Right.
They do a good job.
I think one of the things about outsourcing is you mentioned there's a huge cost savings on the shipping side, right? So a lot of these brands, you probably can pack, pick, and ship the product cheaper than they're shipping. Do you see that in a lot of cases?
Yeah, for sure. And obviously that's dependent on your order volume. And,
Right.
Sometimes you've got a company, for example, where they're like, hey, my brother works at this packaging company and he's giving me, premium rates. There's no way you can beat him. But on the shipping side, for sure, like, people see such cost savings there that it's like, I'm saving so much on shipping that I'm paying for this already. I'm paying for the change already.
And someone has a question here, and it's going to lead to a good question for me. Do you have multiple fulfillment centers, or do you ship out of one location currently? Someone asked how many warehouses you have.
Yep, we've got multiple fulfillment centers. So as a total company, we're riding around 20 warehouses right now. As I mentioned before, we started as a dedicated warehouse company. And so that means that we run facilities just for a certain client. In the multi-client space like this for subscriptions, we've got 8 different warehouses. 3 of those are in Reno. So Reno has been just a hot pocket for us. We've been growing like crazy there. And then we go all the way over to Kansas City, Chicago. In between, we've got Colorado. We have 3 warehouses there as well. So that's.
Oh, go ahead.
No, that's just one of our kind of value adds is if you're at a place where, for example, you're saying, I need to have my inventory in multiple locations. I can't continue to do this in my own warehouse. I need to be hitting the West Coast and the East Coast in a more timely fashion. That's where we can come in. That's an instance where it does make sense to outsource.
Yeah. Well, because for the brands, if you've got multiple locations, you can look at the data. You can then have inventory go to all those locations. Now you're shipping zone 1 through 4 out of like every shipment. You're getting the transit times fast. And for those of you listening, like the importance of like that very first order, getting that to the consumer very fast is very important, in my opinion, in terms of like understanding the customer experience. What Amazon has done is they've made it that we feel like we should get everything in 2 days because Amazon gets it to you in 2 days. And, eventually it's going to be 1 day. So when a consumer is coming to your business and your site and they're signing up for the first time, like, you need to get it to them fast. So I know that whenever I'm working with brands, I say, ship that first box like priority mail. Or 2-day service. The renewals, it's not as big of a deal because the consumer is going to start to understand the habit of when it's coming. But when you have multiple fulfillment centers, it makes it easier, right? To get those.
For sure. And it also allows you to leverage, and this has become super important because of the coronavirus, which is a totally separate topic, but it's always a part of the conversation now, right? Having inventory dispersed in 2 separate locations, if you sell out in location A, you can start pulling from location B. And that's also a great, complement to outsourcing is
Yeah.
that you can integrate with their systems. So their WMS already knows, hey, we're sold out of that cream here, but we can get it from the other facility. And then boom, the client gets an automatic push notification that this product might come separately or whatever it looks like. But
Yeah.
you could code those things in. So the
So
diversified inventory is huge.
this year is interesting, right? With the pandemic and online sales skyrocketing, shipping is a problem, right? Things are coming delayed. I was telling you earlier that I ordered something from a website, and the website said that our carriers can't guarantee anything by Christmas. So then I was like, "Whoa, like, what does this mean?" What are you seeing right now with shipping and delays? How are people handling? What are the shipping companies telling you? I know you've got really good relationships with them.
Yeah. So we've seen a couple of things, right? I mean, everybody knew that USPS was a kind of disaster even before the
Yeah.
holidays. So I think that a lot of people just said, you know what, I can't depend on them. I'm going to start using just FedEx and UPS. And we did see a lot of people making those transitions even before the holidays. Unfortunately, what we've seen happen specifically with those two, UPS and FedEx, is that their volume capacities are maxing out. And just recently, I'm sure at this point, a lot of people have seen the article in the Wall Street Journal, but previously to the publication of that on Monday, I had sent an email to all of our customers because we had an interesting experience that had never happened before. We wanted to let everybody know FedEx was at capacity in our van. And so we said, okay, we're going to set up a second shipment. We go in to set up the second shipment for delivery pickup and later in the day. And we get a phone call saying, hey, we can't do second pickups anymore.
Wow.
We only do one pickup, and whatever capacity we have left in the back of the truck is what you get. So clearly we had orders sitting on the dock on pallets that we couldn't even get out. And as a solution to that, we've had to come up with a bunch of creative things. One of them being setting up our own LTL shipments to take it directly to their yard, which they haven't loved, but they've been willing to take up to this point. And another solution that we've come up with is just to start setting up the carrier earlier in the day and shifting the employees to be picking, packing earlier. So we're not running into that problem later in the day where we're getting the last truck and it's already full.
Right. Smart. What are you seeing some of your companies that you work with do for guaranteed by Christmas? Have you talked to any of them? Have they moved those dates up? I mean, typically it used to be 13th, the 14th, even the 15th or the 6th. I mean, actually, what am I saying? I think like last year was like the 17th or the 18th. Made
Right.
sure you had it by Christmas. So
We
now,
haven't had anybody make any formal statements, but if you go onto the UPS website or the FedEx website or even USPS, and again, I had been sending and notifying clients of this because we wanted to really get ahead of it, but their cutoff dates, even prior to this capacity issue, were days before they were last year. So we actually were, notifying our clients about a month in advance when they put this out there. Hey, here's our 2021 schedule for the holidays. We started notifying clients. You need to let your customers know that they need to order early if they want this by Christmas.
What's the cutoff right now for those? Do you know?
They're still saying that they can do next day by, I want to say it's the 23rd, or
What
maybe
about
the 24th.
standard priority mail or 2-day, 3-day? Are they still saying 16th, 17th?
Yeah.
20? Yeah, wow. It's interesting. I'm erring on this. I feel like you should be erring on the side of the caution.
Oh, yeah.
Cut off dates a little bit earlier. For those of you listening, and I talked about this the last couple of weeks. I'd have a banner right on the front of your website letting you know when the cutoff is for the holidays, so people aren't bombarding customer service with those questions. Use customer service to help convert sales. Are there any recommendations you have, Megan, for this holiday season for these brands, like being proactive with their own customers or packaging? Like, are you seeing like more packages are getting damaged because there's so much volume? Like, what's something else you're seeing maybe from this?
Yeah. I mean, I think that what you're seeing is bottleneck across the entire supply chain, right? So at first it was bottleneck getting things overseas, and that was a month and a half ago. Then you finally get it here. The ports are slammed, trying to get your goods out of the port. Then you get it to the warehouse finally after you've got the transportation set up. At this point, you're just falling further and further behind. But the demand for these products isn't changing. People still expect them, especially on the subscription side. You know, like we've got a client who does diapers. Talk about an essential good. You know, like you need your diapers, and those can't get held up. You know, and so I think that one of the really like compelling just forecasting issues that you might want to think about is the Chinese New Year that's coming up. Not a lot of people are talking about it yet, but it's gonna have an impact. And I mean, at this point in the game, it's the 4th. If you haven't thought about this, you better start thinking about it now. And, you know, like to your point, Chris, throw a banner up on your website, be proactive, you know, offer, hey, you know, I can send you this cute certificate in the meantime, and you can give that as a present. You know, like
I remember that thing. We used to do like the certificate that said your gift is on the way, and used to hand it to somebody. You brought up a really, really good point for everybody listening. If you source your own products, be ready for the Chinese New Year next year where there's going to be a delay. I would get those orders in ASAP, and like it might tie up some cash flow as you're waiting for those that March box to go out, but it's like a must, because the last thing you want to do is not have a box with any items in it. Really, really good tips.
I think that's across the board, right? Packaging too,
like everything. Like everything you need for your business. Like
at this point, an expedited,
the curated boxes,
expedited shipment is. Oh, sorry, there's a delay.
No, you're 100% right there. Like your curated boxes, your shipping labels, like all that stuff you need to order ahead of time, because there's going to be big delays come February. When does that Chinese New Year start?
I don't know. I'd have to look at the date. I just know it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. So that's good. Some good thoughts. We have a couple more minutes here, and there was a couple of questions people asked. Another one is, are you seeing more products getting lost or not delivered because of what's happening too?
Oh yeah, for sure. You had asked about damage, like, you know, yes. The bottom line is yes.
Like customer service has just got to be ready for it.
Yep. And you know, customer service is getting blown up. Like everybody's busy right now, which isn't a bad thing, you know, like that excites me. With everything that happened this year, like we feel really blessed to be in the industry that we're in. The subscription industry is no different. I told you, Chris, like I personally went out and got more subscriptions once the pandemic hit, because I felt like it was a great alternative to going to the grocery store, to going out and exposing myself to people. So the game has changed, you know, and everybody's busy right now, and customer service is definitely, you know, on the forefront of everything.
That makes sense. Megan, I want to say thank you for jumping on live with me. There's some people that had some questions about what different facilities you have in that. How can they get a hold of you? There's some good questions for them to ask you. What's a good email, or I know they can reach you on LinkedIn, but what's another good way for them to get a hold of you if they have questions on anything?
So my email is super easy. It's just Megan, MEGAN .Smith, SMITH @symbia.com, SYMBIA. And obviously LinkedIn, I'm there all the time. I run the stories on our Instagram, which, you know, you can always get me there. Kind of the marketing social media manager for a service company. So I'm always around.
I love it. And for all you watching, thank you so much for tuning in. Megan's a big supporter of SUBTA. They're a partner to SUBTA. They run a great fulfillment center. They got facilities all over the nation. So if you're looking to outsource, even if you have a question, Megan's happy to answer those questions. Even if it's not that you're looking to get, you know, looking to work with them, they're just happy to answer any questions for you and support the community. As always, I'm on every Friday at 2 p.m. Lock it in your calendar. As you know, I'm always on. I got some great people lined up for the next few weeks to jump on with me. I hope you all have an amazing, amazing weekend. And I look forward to seeing everybody next Friday. Thanks again, Megan.
Thank you.